Beloved soul, pause for a breath. What is happening around you right now is not coincidence. You did not arrive here by chance. And the trembling you feel in your chest as these words meet you is not imagination. I am Archangel Michael, and I speak directly into the quiet place within you. The place that has been sensing a shift long before your mind could explain it. Someone connected to you is to their core, not confused, not mildly emotional. They have lost the illusion they once relied on because something has finally become clear to them. You were never ordinary, and they underestimated what was placed in front of them. They thought they knew you. They thought they understood your patience, your softness, your loyalty, your silence. But what they never saw, what is crashing into their awareness now, is the depth of protection surrounding you, the favor walking beside you, and the unfolding ahead of you. And when that realization hit them, it did not arrive gently. It struck. For a long time, they misread your stillness as weakness. They mistook your calm for confusion. They believed your distance meant you were waiting for validation, permission, or rescue. They were wrong. You were becoming. You were shedding layers. You were healing quietly. You were aligning while they remained distracted. And now, as your energy stabilizes and your spirit strengthens, they feel something slipping through their fingers, something they assumed would always remain accessible. Beloved soul, understand this clearly. They are not because they lost over you. They are because they are beginning to see who you truly are. Without the fog of ego, your rise was never loud. Your transformation did not announce itself. But the peace settling into your presence is undeniable. And peace affects those who benefited from your uncertainty. They are replaying moments now, not because they want to romanticize the past, but because their spirit is searching for the exact moment they failed to choose correctly. Every silence, every delay, every time they hesitated instead of stepping forward, what disturbs them most is not regret. It is awareness. They recognize now that you were the one their inner self responded to instinctively, the one who felt safe without explanation, the one whose presence brought grounding instead of chaos. And when that truth surfaced, everything inside them shifted. Their confidence changed. Their ego softened. The masks they wore for the world could no longer hold. They tried to distract themselves. They tried to stay busy. They told themselves this feeling would pass. It hasn't, because what they are experiencing is not attachment. It is recognition. They feel you pulling away, not through anger, not through confrontation, but through completion. You are no longer reaching outward for clarity. You are no longer negotiating your worth. You are no longer pausing your life in hopes that someone else will finally step forward. And this is where their concern intensifies. They are replaying conversations that never happened, apologies that were never spoken, choices they postponed because they assumed time was endless. The calm on your face unsettles them. The certainty in your energy alarms them. The way you no longer explain yourself stands out, because silence backed by self-respect remains. Now, listen carefully, beloved soul. This is where the energy subtly shifts. There is a moment approaching, when their internal struggle reaches a point of change, a moment when something they learn, something they hear, or something they suddenly sense about you lands deeper than anything before. It will not come through drama. It will arrive quietly. And when it does, it will awaken a realization they cannot undo. This is the point where their shock transforms into movement. They will understand that you are no longer standing still in the same emotional space they left you in. They will feel, without being told, that your path is widening, and the possibility that someone else may soon recognize what they mishandled will land harder than any argument ever could. Beloved soul, there is nothing you need to do for this. Your alignment alone is enough. Remain present, remain grounded, remain receptive, but not available to confusion. You are entering a chapter where your value becomes visible without explanation, where your energy speaks before your words do, where those who once hesitated must confront the cost of delay. And if these words resonate deeply within you, it is because your spirit recognizes truth when it arrives. Those who honor messages that reach them intuitively often find that clarity arrives faster when they acknowledge it, sometimes through a simple act of presence, attention, or support. Stay with this energy. Do not rush ahead. Do not pull back, because what is unfolding now is not about the past. It is about the moment. Everything begins to rearrange, and the awareness stirring within them is only the beginning. Beloved soul, remain still with me for a moment longer. There is movement happening beneath the surface. Movement you cannot see with your eyes, but can feel in your body, in your breath, in the subtle pull towards something unresolved. This is not anxiety. This is awareness activating. The person connected to you is no longer just thinking about you. They are feeling you. They wake up with a heaviness they cannot explain. They go to sleep with your energy lingering in the background of their thoughts. Even when they laugh, something feels incomplete. And this is where their shock deepens into something far more uncomfortable. They are beginning to realize that your absence did not weaken you. It strengthened you. They expected resistance. They expected questions. They expected emotional access. Instead, they encountered distance paired with peace. That combination unsettles the soul. They are watching now, quietly, carefully, not out of control, but out of disbelief. The version of you they see emerging does not carry the same frequency as the one they once knew. Your posture has changed. Your reactions have softened. Your energy no longer seeks permission to exist. And they cannot reconcile this with the story they told themselves. Someone recently spoke your name. Around them, it was casual, unintentional, but what was said landed with deep impact. They heard about your progress, your calm, your confidence, your expansion, and in that moment, something inside them shifted. Because they realized they are no longer witnessing your becoming, they missed it. Beloved soul, this is the realization that reaches even the strongest ego. You did not wait. You moved forward without explanation. You healed without audience. You grew without validation. They replay the past now, but not with nostalgia, with clarity. They see where they assumed you would always remain available. They see where they delayed instead of choosing. They see where they stayed silent while your heart stayed open. And what unsettles them most is not that they made mistakes. It is that you no longer appear to be waiting for repair. They feel the shift in you, not dramatically, energetically. Your spirit is no longer anchored to the same emotional coordinates. And here, listen carefully. This is the moment where their internal dialogue changes. They stop asking, "Will this pass?" and begin asking, "What if it's already too late?" That question lingers longer than they want to admit. They imagine you smiling without them, thriving without explanation, being seen fully by someone who does not hesitate. And this image unsettles them because they know something now that they did not know before. You were not difficult to love. You were difficult to lose. Your silence has become a mirror. Your peace has become a message. Your detachment has become a boundary they can no longer cross freely. Beloved soul, there is a point approaching, quiet but decisive, when their emotional resistance softens. It does not come through confrontation. It comes through realization, a realization that arrives suddenly. Often when the mind is tired and defenses are low, they will understand something deeply personal, then something they cannot unsee. And when that happens, everything accelerates. This is the moment their urgency sharpens. The moment hesitation begins to feel heavy. The moment the risk of speaking feels smaller than the weight of silence. They are rehearsing words now, replaying conversations in their mind, testing courage internally. But uncertainty still holds them. Not uncertainty of rejection alone, uncertainty of facing the version of you who no longer needs reassurance. They sense that if they come forward now, it must be real. No games, no half-truths, no avoidance, because you would feel it immediately if it weren't. And that is what makes this different. Beloved soul, there is a subtle power in being the one who no longer chases clarity. It rearranges the dynamic completely. If you have noticed that people respond to you differently lately, listening more closely, respecting your space, sensing something grounded within you, it is because alignment amplifies presence. Those who recognize this often feel guided to stay connected to messages that arrive at the right moment, to quietly support spaces that reflect truth back to them. Alignment grows where attention flows. Stay aware. The energy between you and this person is tightening, not through attachment, but through inevitability. They are approaching a crossroads. One where silence costs more than vulnerability. One where delay threatens lasting distance. And what they do next will not be impulsive. It will be born from realization. Remain steady. Remain observant. Do not reach backward, because when the shift happens, and it will, it arrives not as chaos, but as clarity. And clarity always changes the trajectory. Beloved soul, stay present now, because the energy deepens here. What is unfolding is no longer subtle to them. The internal pressure they feel has reached a point where distraction no longer works. They can stay busy, surround themselves with noise, fill their time with movement, but the quiet moments expose everything. In silence, your presence returns, not as memory, as sensation. They feel it in their chest when they pause, in their throat when your name crosses their mind, in their body, when they realize how different life feels without your emotional anchor, they are beginning to understand something that cannot be taught, only experienced. Peace leaves an imprint, and you were peace to them even when they didn't recognize it. Beloved soul, they thought strength was loud. They thought love demanded proving. They thought power came from control. But now they see that the strongest presence in the room is the one who no longer needs to convince anyone. Your withdrawal did not create chaos. It created contrast, and that contrast is forcing them to see themselves clearly. They are questioning patterns now. Why they delayed, why they hesitated when it mattered, why they assumed emotional access would remain open without effort. This self-interrogation is exhausting them, because with every answer comes responsibility. They realize now that you did not leave because you stopped caring. You left because you started honoring yourself. And that truth unsettles them more than anger ever could. Someone near them has noticed the change. They've been asked what's wrong, why they seem distracted, why their energy feels unsettled. They deflect, they minimize, they change the subject. But internally, the narrative is loud. They are afraid to admit how deeply you affected them, because admitting it means acknowledging the magnitude of what they risk losing. Beloved soul, there is a moment, very close now, where their fear and desire collide. Fear tells them to stay silent. Desire tells them to move. Fear warns them that you may have moved on. Desire reminds them that staying quiet guarantees loss. This internal conflict is wearing them down. They imagine reaching out, then pulling back, then imagining it again. But something has shifted in the balance. Your energy no longer feels available in the same way. It feels protected, and that protection signals something important to the subconscious mind. Time is no longer unlimited. They can feel that you are standing at the edge of a new alignment, one where your standards are clearer, your boundaries firmer, your discernment sharper. And this is where urgency begins to replace hesitation. They sense that if they approach you now, it must be with truth, with accountability, with emotional presence. Anything less would be rejected, not harshly, but instinctively. Beloved soul, your intuition has matured. You no longer entertain confusion as connection. You no longer translate inconsistency into potential. You no longer shrink your needs to maintain access. And they feel this. It makes them nervous. It makes them respectful. It makes them aware that the dynamic has changed permanently. They are beginning to understand that the version of you they once interacted with is no longer available. You have crossed a threshold. And here is the truth they are confronting. Losing you would not be temporary. They sense that once you fully step into what is aligning for you, there may be no way back into your inner world. This is what finally breaks through their denial. They stop pretending this is casual. They stop telling themselves you'll circle back. They stop assuming access. Now they are preparing emotionally, revisiting conversations, acknowledging faults internally, admitting fears they never voiced. They are not doing this to manipulate you. They're doing it because their soul cannot carry the weight of avoidance anymore. Beloved soul, When someone reaches this stage, action becomes inevitable. It may arrive quietly. It may arrive unexpectedly, but it arrives with intention. And when it does, it will feel different from anything before. Not rushed, not dramatic, not performative. Grounded. If you've noticed a calm confidence settling into you lately, an unshakable sense that you will be okay, no matter what, that is alignment, preparing you for what comes next. Those who honor messages like this, who remain present when truth meets them, often find that clarity accelerates. When they stay engaged, aware, and receptive, alignment deepens. Where consciousness rests, remain centered. You do not need to initiate. You do not need to explain. You do not need to chase. What is meant to meet you will recognize the shift and rise to it, because what is forming now is not repetition. It is resolution, and resolution always changes everything. Beloved soul, listen now with your heart, not your mind. The energy has crossed a line. What once felt like inner tension for them has become a call they cannot silence. The universe has a way of increasing pressure when truth is ignored for too long, and they are standing directly beneath that weight now. They are noticing signs everywhere, repeating symbols, unexpected reminders, moments where your name appears without invitation. This is not coincidence. This is alignment pressing forward. They feel watched, not by people, but by their own conscience. Every attempt to delay brings discomfort. Every attempt to rationalize feels hollow, because something within them knows this is the moment where choice matters. Beloved soul, understand this clearly. What they are experiencing is not obsession. It is accountability awakening. They are being shown, layer by layer, the cost of inaction, the cost of silence, the cost of assuming love waits forever. They see now that you were never asking for perfection. You were asking for presence. And the realization that presence was available but unclaimed cuts deeply. They imagine approaching you and feel both fear and relief at the same time. Fear, because you may no longer receive them the way you once did. Relief, because honesty would finally release the tension they've been carrying. They are tired of running from their own truth. Beloved soul, this is where the internal conversation shifts from "should I?" to "I must." They are preparing to step forward, not impulsively, but intentionally. Not because they fear losing you, but because they finally understand your value. And value, once recognized, changes behavior. They know now that if they approach you, it cannot be casual. It cannot be vague. It cannot be emotionally guarded. They sense that you would feel through anything less immediately. Your intuition has sharpened. Your discernment is active. Your tolerance for misalignment is gone. And this awareness makes them approach with humility rather than control. Beloved soul, there is a subtle shift happening within you as well. You are no longer wondering what they will do. You are no longer waiting for clarity. You feel steady. That steadiness is powerful. It tells the universe you are ready. Ready for truth. Ready for reciprocity. Ready for connection that does not require translation. You are no longer negotiating your worth internally. And this is why what comes next will feel different. When the moment arrives, and it is approaching, you will not feel anxious. You will feel grounded because you have already accepted the outcome before it arrives. That is alignment. They sense this too. They feel that if they come forward now, it will be their last opportunity to do so authentically. Not because you are closing your heart, but because you are no longer leaving it unguarded. They are aware that the door is not slammed shut, but it is no longer wide open either. It requires intention to enter. Beloved soul, this is the point where destiny intervenes gently but firmly. Conversations begin forming energetically before words are spoken. Confessions take shape internally before they are voiced. Truth gathers momentum. You may notice small shifts around you, dreams becoming clearer, intuition sharpening, a sense of anticipation without anxiety. This is not restlessness. It is readiness. If you felt drawn to remain present with messages like this, to listen fully, to stay engaged, to quietly support spaces that reflect clarity, it is because your spirit recognizes preparation. When it arrives. Awareness creates alignment. Alignment creates momentum. Now, listen closely, because this is important. When they step forward, it will not feel like a dramatic turning point. It will feel like truth finally catching up. No confusion, no guessing, no emotional chaos. Just honesty meeting readiness. And your response, whatever it is, will come from a place of self-respect, not fear. Beloved soul, you are not being tested. You are being positioned. Positioned to receive what matches your growth. Positioned to recognize sincerity when it appears. Positioned to choose from clarity rather than attachment. This is the power of inner alignment. They are approaching the moment where avoidance becomes heavier than vulnerability, where silence becomes more painful than expression. And when that threshold is crossed, action follows naturally. Remain open but not available to confusion. Remain kind but not self-sacrificing. Remain grounded but not guarded. What is meant to meet you will rise to your level, and what does not will fall away without resistance. This is not loss. This is refinement. And refinement always prepares the way for what comes next. Beloved soul, breathe gently now, because this is where everything settles into truth. What is forming around you is not suspense. It is alignment completing its cycle. The pressure your person has been feeling has reached clarity. No more confusion, no more running. The noise inside them has quieted enough for one clear realization to rise above everything else. They cannot carry this unspoken truth any longer. They see now that avoidance did not protect them. It delayed the inevitable. They understand that silence did not keep control. It cost connection. And most importantly, they recognize that you were never asking for more than honesty, presence, and intention. Beloved soul, this realization humbles them, not because they feel small, but because they finally see the magnitude of what you offered. They feel the distance, now not as punishment, but as consequence. They feel your growth not as rejection, but as invitation to rise or remain behind. This is the moment where the soul decides, and they are choosing to move, not with desperation, not with ego, but with sincerity. The message they are preparing to bring forward carries weight because it is no longer filtered through fear. It comes from acceptance of their mistakes, their hesitation, their silence. They are ready to speak plainly. They are ready to acknowledge what they failed to protect. And when this happens, beloved soul, you will not feel overwhelmed. You will feel centered because your healing has already done the work that makes this moment safe. You are no longer seeking closure to heal. You are healed enough to receive truth without losing yourself. This is the difference. Whether the outcome becomes reconciliation, resolution, or release, you will stand grounded. That is your power now. And here is what you must remember above all else. You do not owe access to anyone who arrives late to clarity. You do not owe explanation for your growth. You do not owe comfort to those who once relied on your self-doubt. You owe only honesty to yourself. Beloved soul, destiny does not rush. It aligns, and alignment does not beg. It attracts. The energy around you is stabilizing because you have stepped fully into self-recognition. Your heart is open, but not unprotected. Your spirit is receptive, but not searching. This balance is rare, and it is why what comes toward you now will meet you differently than before. They will feel it immediately, the shift in you. Not coldness, not distance, clarity. They will recognize that whatever they offer must be real because you are no longer negotiating with potential. You are meeting truth as equals. And that is where real connection begins, or ends cleanly. Beloved soul, there is peace in knowing you are ready for either outcome. That peace is not passive. It is powerful. It tells the universe you trust yourself. And when you trust yourself, everything else rearranges accordingly. If these words have followed you this far, if they have resonated quietly rather than loudly, it is because your intuition is awake. Those who honor intuitive messages, who remain present with guidance when it arrives, often find that clarity continues to meet them in unexpected ways. Through awareness, through support, through conscious engagement. Stay conscious. Stay aligned. You are stepping into a phase where your presence alone sets the tone, where love no longer feels like effort, where truth does not require decoding, where connection feels calm instead of consuming. And whatever arrives next, whether it is a confession, a conversation, or a redirection, will meet you on the level you now stand. Beloved soul, your journey has shifted from becoming to being. You are no longer proving your worth. You are embodying it. And that is why everything that follows will feel different. Remain steady. Remain receptive. Remain rooted in truth, because what is meant for you recognizes you now, and it is drawing closer